Yeah, this has been a big issue for me. For me, I guess it took me a long time to figure out that I was very judgmental of other people, partially because I was being very judgmental about myself. It was just a whole worldview, and the whole notion of Maitri just seemed, a very scary place to go. It was also very unclear about what it meant. It was sort of, if it was about giving myself a break, which, giving my old habits, was about justifying anything I wanted to justify. Mm-hmm. So, it's always been a work in progress, and still, I've been meditating for 25 years, and it's still a work in progress about, this discipline without being tough on myself and being able to see things clearly without justifying whatever. So there's this process. It's, when you say, just don't be angry, kind of all sorts of red flares go up, because there was a time in my life when I was very freaked out because I wasn't angry anymore, because it was, and so, I can't go there, but, I don't want to justify all my bad habits either. So I think what Pema's advice was kind of right on the mark.
It's very interesting what you all say, is because there's one thing that stands out from all that you said is to be hard on oneself. What is being hard on oneself?
Well, that means, sort of you're getting in touch with your basic badness, I guess.
If I am going on the path that leads me to more delusion, then that is what is being hard on oneself. If I am going on a path freeing from deluded thoughts or negative thoughts, it may be a hard process, but I'm being very kind to myself. Is that correct?
Yeah.
If this is not understood, and what struck me was when you said being disciplined, even if it is being hard on yourself. And so that would mean is in generating mindfulness and being able to remove yourself from negativities, you see that as being hard on yourself, then it is a good being hard on yourself. One has to have a very clear understanding of that. Being hard is where there is an absence of wisdom. In anything that you are doing, if there is an absence of wisdom, an absence of skillful means, then it is being hard on yourself. And I think many meditators often do that, is without the wisdom and without the skillful means, they hear certain teachings, such as, let's say, as you used the example, not to get angry. And then they simply jump into forcing themselves to not be angry, but there being an absence of wisdom of knowing the situation, knowing yourself, knowing your potential, being sort of skillfully being able to keep yourself away from such situations that evoke anger, and then simply beating yourself up for being an angry person. Sort of, that's almost a guilt-ridden person. So that's being very tough, very hard on oneself. And it all comes down to, I think, all this that we have talked about, whether it's psychotherapy or emotions or even the situation as you're explaining here, it, I think, all comes down to a sense of the need. What I would say is a sense of need for really expanding our understanding in two areas. One is all sentient beings are karmically connected. You owe to sentient beings in diverse ways, karma connection, and therefore when we say in the teachings, we always talk about knowing all sentient beings to having been our mothers and fathers in one lifetime or the other. I think we really need to emphasize this thought a little bit more, not seeing sentient beings as mothers and fathers, as much as knowing that all sentient beings have this very deep inner connection that we all have with one another, which therefore makes it very important that you and I be the first ones to practice discipline or patience or whatever it is, to forgive I am the first one to do, I should be the first one. To be able to forget, I should be the first one. To be able to engage in patience, I should be the first one. Why? Is because if you look at it from the perspective of karmic connections, I owe it to all sentient beings. There is not one reason or one situation, one person to blame. There is so many different webs of connections that leads to situations. Therefore, in all this sort of chaos and web of connections that are there, because I am equipped with it, because I am the one who has met with the Dharma, I am the one who has the first take on the responsibility, thinking in this way. And so the second becomes, I think, a broader understanding of karma, really deepening understanding of karma, and that which makes you have the habit that you have. That is the struggle that you have with anger. That is the struggle you have with not having patience. This is the struggle with having had this situation, unfortunate situation, having met with the wrong person in this life, having encountered so many difficulties, or being able to now come to a point where the encountering of the difficulties leads to a greater realization. And now, because of the unfortunate situation, you are actually that person who has now the possibility of bringing benefit to countless sentient beings. These are all not just sort of accidental things, but it is because of karma. Unfortunate things are also because of karma. The unfortunate things now becomes the most beneficial thing. That's also because of the karma. And therefore, I think two factors are very essential. One, understanding the web of interconnection with sentient beings. And the other is the complex connections or complexities of karma, web of karma. If these two are what every meditator thinks a little bit, personally, I think that is what makes it for many meditators to have it a little bit easy in not inflicting this hardness on one's own self, that you don't beat yourself up. And I don't know whether it is to the point that you have made, but what I find many times is also, many times Western practitioners almost, I think it's probably the same everywhere, but since we are here, then Western practitioners almost have the sense of carrying the burden of everyone on your shoulders. So when we say, you should liberate all sentient beings, they take it very literally. You know, I think it's okay. It's a very good idea. If it happens, it happens. That's very fine. So, you know, but on the other hand, you know, you never know who can do it, and therefore, you know, you might be the one led by somebody else, you know, and you should be just as happy in making sure that you're just one of the sort of participants in the enlightenment of the others. So I have to do it. It's all up to me now. It's me who has to sort of. Unnecessarily, people pressure themselves into being sort of really much more than what is really expected to be. So I think you can all, and we can all relax a little bit in that, and then probably this is a good point to start. Is that, would you like to go on?
No, that's
okay.
fine.
So at this point, probably we'll have a relaxed lunch today and then sort of just go into saying, oh, you know, it's very good. We all keep the aspiration of being the vehicle of liberation of all sentient beings. But I have no sort of qualms about being an oar, perhaps, or just, you know, or just a participant in the boat, isn't it? Just sort of go along. Maybe just the pusher of the boat, or someone who is on a small floater trying to keep up with the boat. And so I think that hardness that we are talking about, you know, being hard on yourself is maybe it's that we are just pressurizing ourselves to do something that from the perspective of where we are in this world and who we are in this world, it's not a realistic approach. So talk about potential. Then go as far as you can. With the potential, there is no limit. Then possibility is another thing, isn't it? And so possibility, be realistic, and always do a little bit more than what you think you're capable of. And I think that's enough for the moment.